The 10 biggest music business deals of 2025. Taylor Swift's Masters, abs billions and more. Taylor Swift buying back her Masters, billion-dollar asset-backed securities pacts, and a major Live Nation acquisition highlight a year's worth of big deals. In an industry filled with household names and viral news bites, the most significant music business transactions of 2025 had all the excitement on accounting seminar. Asset-backed securities, ABS, and joint ventures for off-balance sheet investments account for half of the 10 largest music deals of the year. Dry and complex financial engineering lacks the pizzazz of, say, the world's biggest pop star finally buying the rights to master recordings that twice sparked her outrage by being sold to other parties. Still, ABS have been some of music's biggest deals in recent years, and off-balance sheet transactions are an increasingly common way for major labels and publishers to add to their IP empires. Sometimes the unsexiest transactions are the most impactful ones. It wasn't a bad year for music deal-making, but 2025 had fewer big-ticket transactions than 2024. The top 10 deals of 2025 total $6.9 billion, slightly less than half of the $12.9 billion a year earlier. What's more, half of this year's list was under $500 million and wouldn't have made 2024's top 10. Not that 2025 lacked a blockbuster deal. Taylor Swift's purchase of her Big Machine Masters made headlines around the world, even though the price tag wouldn't have made the 2024 list. Last year, Queen and Michael Jackson rights changed hands for much larger sums. This year's list is heavy on fundraising, but light on acquisitions and investments, which fell from $8.56 billion in 2024 to just $1.46 billion in 2025. This year's list had 3 fundraisers worth $1.78 billion and a joint venture deal worth $1.2 billion, whereas the 2024 list had 0 fundraisers and joint ventures. Here are Billboard's top 10 business deals of 2025. 1. Concord ABS raises $1.65 billion. The asset-backed security, ABS, have become old hat for Concord, which raised $1.8 billion in 2022 and $500 million in 2023 through ABS deals. In its latest ABS, a series of 5-year, 7-year, and 10-year senior notes are backed by a catalog of more than 1.3 million music copyrights, including songs by the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Beyoncé, Bruno Mars, Pink Floyd, and Rihanna. The proceeds were used to repay $1.65 billion owed from the 2022 ABS and refinance a separate note. CEO Bob Valentine called ABS deals a vital part of our growth strategy by lowering the company's cost of capital while allowing it to expand its global capabilities. The Nashville-based company has been on an acquisition streak in recent years, having purchased Round Hill Music Royalty Fund, digital distributor STEM, and the music catalogs of Daddy Yankee, Mojo Music and Media, and Ed Sheeran collaborator Johnny McDade, among others. 2. Pop House Entertainment raises $1.3 billion for catalog acquisitions. Pop House Entertainment, the Swedish investment firm behind the London-based virtual show ABBA Voyage, is number 2 on the list after raising €1.2 billion, $1.3 billion, to invest in music rights that could be the foundation for entertainment experiences. The fundraise consisted of €1 billion, $1.08 billion, through a private equity fund, and €200 million, $216 million, through co-investment vehicles in which investors put money into specific Pop House projects. By the time the announcement was made, Pop House had already deployed 30% of the fund in partnerships related to the acquisition of rights to Kiss, Cyndi Lauper, Avicii, and Swedish House Mafia. 3. Warner Music Group establishes $1.2 billion partnership with Bain Capital. Warner Music's July announcement of a $1.2 billion joint venture with private equity firm Bain Capital wasn't a surprise. A year earlier, the company had hired a Goldman Sachs investment banker, Michael Ryan Southern, to help boost its catalog acquisitions. The partnership with Bain gives Warner Music financial help to buy high-profile music rights while keeping the assets and liabilities off its balance sheet. While each party holds a 50% stake in the Delaware-based LLC, Bain is guaranteed a preferred return on invested equity before Warner Music earns a return on its investments, according to Warner Music's November 20th 10-K filing. Warner Music will handle marketing, distribution, and rights administration, while both companies will jointly identify and purchase catalogs. Following the transaction, the joint venture secured a $500 million credit facility to help fund catalog acquisitions. 4. Live Nation acquires additional 24% stake in Ocesa for $646 million. Concert promotion giant Live Nation announced in July that it would acquire an additional 24% stake in Mexican promoter Ocesa from its minority owner, Grupo CIE, for $646 million, bringing its ownership stake to 75%. The transaction was completed on August 19th and cost $651.5 million, according to the company's SEC filing. Alejandro Sobrin, founder and CEO of both CIE and Ocesa, is set to remain Ocesa's CEO through 2032. At the same time, an agreement that gives Live Nation the ability to acquire the remaining 25% in Ocesa was shifted to 2032. Ocesa has been an integral part of Live Nation's expansion in Latin America, tripling the number of fans attending their shows in Mexico since 2019, CEO Michael Rapino said in a statement in July. Ocesa was ranked number 3 on the Billboard Box Score 2025 mid-year report behind Live Nation and AEG. 5. Harborview Equity Partners, ABS raises $500 million. Harborview Equity Partners' second ABS raised $500 million, the same as its first ABS a year earlier, through an issuance managed by KKR. The money will be used to invest in evergreen intellectual property, in media, sports, and entertainment, CEO Cherise Clark-Soares said in a statement. Since the deal was announced, Harborview acquired a majority stake in the catalog of metal band Slipknot and a stake in singer Kelly Clarkson's catalog. The company also partnered with Hit Boy for the artist/producer's future titles. Harborview's vast catalog also includes Wiz Khalifa, Fleetwood Mac's Christine McVie, and more. 6. Warner Music Group acquires controlling stake in Tempo Music for $450 million. Less than a year after hiring a top music investor from Goldman Sachs, Warner Music bolstered its publishing catalog by acquiring a majority stake in Tempo Music. Warner Music launched Tempo Music in 2019, with most of the money coming from Providence Equity Partners, which retain a minority stake. Tempo Music's catalog includes many Warner Chappell music songwriters, such as 21 Pilots' Tyler Joseph, Wiz Khalifa, Florida Georgia Line, and country songwriter Shane McAnally. The deal included a stable of artists and songwriters, such as the Jonas Brothers, Korn, Philip Lawrence, Bruno Mars, 24K Magic, and Uptown Funk, and Frank Ocean collaborator Malay. Following the transaction, Warner Music holds approximately $311 million of asset-backed securities issued by Tempo Music and backed by certain of its music rights. 7. Taylor Swift purchases Big Machine Masters for $360 million. Taylor Swift's masters from her 6-album tenure at Big Machine Label Group have formed one of the music industry's most high-profile soap operas of the last decade. Rights to the albums first switched hands in 2019 when Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings purchased Big Machine Label Group for $300 million. Braun's ownership of the masters raised the ire of Swift and her legion of fans. But Braun flipped Swift's recordings in 2020, offloading them to Shamrock Capital for an estimated $300 million. Swift immediately voiced her displeasure, writing in an open letter that she refused to work with Shamrock because of the firm's connection with Braun. The singer got the last laugh, though, famously re-recording 4 of the 6 Big Machine albums as Taylor's version releases, selling millions of copies and amassing billions of streams, encouraging radio not to play the originals and licensing her versions, not the originals, for advertisements, trailers, TV shows, and movies. When Swift purchased the Big Machine Masters in May for an estimated $360 million, she was exuberant, writing, "All the music I've ever made now belongs to me." 8. Recognition Group ABS raises $327 million. Recognition Group, the company formerly known as Hypnosis Songs Management, took the ABS route for the 4th time, the first under the Recognition banner, when it raised $327 million through Lyra 2025-1. That ABS was a follow-up to Lyra 2024-1 and Lyra 2024-2, which raised $1.47 billion. Lyra 2025-1 added assets worth $341 million to the Lyra catalog. 9. Suno raises $250 million. The leading music AI platform Suno raised $250 million from a group of investors led by Menlo Ventures to give the 2-year-old company a $2.45 billion valuation. The Series C fundraise, which included NVIDIA's venture capital arm Ventures, as well as Suno's existing investors Lightspeed and Matrix, will be used at offerings so users can create, stream, and share AI music without ever leaving Suno's platform. Mostly male users aged 25 to 34 are already contributing to the creation of a Spotify's worth of songs every 2 weeks on Suno, according to its investor pitch deck obtained by Billboard, driving annual recurring revenue of $140 million as of September 30th. Suno struggles to retain users, with the majority leaving the platform after 30 days. 10. Go Digital secures $230 million. Sync Music parent company Go Digital said it secured $230 million in financing in November from Bank of America, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, East West Bank, First Horizon, Fifth Third, and Flagstar. The Go Digital Music division, where Sync sits, owns certain master recording and publishing rights to songs by Jason Derulo, T.I. and Daddy Yankee through its acquisition of the Beluga Heights record label. Go Digital plans to use the money to buy more catalogs in the reggaeton, musica mexicana, Afrobeats, K-pop, and country genres.